Hey friends, welcome to day 58 of the 90-day video challenge, stepping into 2020 on the right foot. Today is Thanksgiving Day, so it's been a full day, and man, speaking of full, I am full.
Yeah, I've eaten a lot today.
Yeah, and it's super late. We got to go with family and see some Christmas lights over in Fayetteville at the city square. They always decorate it up with like a gazillion lights. And then we went and saw a movie over in Springdale, and so it was fun to watch Knives Out. It's a pretty good movie. I would recommend it. April tried to get poisoned by the latex there.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say my thankfulness. I'm thankful that Walmart is open 24 hours a day and that it was literally across the street from the movie theater. I was able to go over and get some Benadryl.
Benadryl and stop the allergic reaction.
Yeah, I'm still pretty itchy.
Yeah. So, the adventures that we've had today, it's been fun, and it's been a good Thanksgiving. It was fun to be with all the family, and so already looking forward to seeing them again at Christmas time. So, we're finishing up at Papa and Nana's house. As you can see, we're still sort of in the middle of our unknown backgrounds. This one's sort of tight. We're in a tight bedroom, and so everybody's already headed to bed, and so we're just trying to do this before it becomes a missed day. We don't want to miss the day. So today was the prayer fleece. In Judges chapter 6 verse 37, Gideon says, "I will place a wool fleece on the threshing floor." An interesting thing about prayer fleece is it's fairly controversial.
It is. Why is it controversial?
Well, because some people believe that it's challenging God.
Testing him.
Putting him to a test. And as we all know, you shouldn't really test God with the exception of the tithe. And in the tithe, he says, you can test me in this thing. So, Gideon put a wool fleece down on the floor because of a couple of different options. And Mark talks about that in the book. He says that Gideon was filled with insecurity. He said, when the angel addressed him as mighty warrior, I bet Gideon looked over his shoulder to see who he was talking to because there's no way it could be him. He thought God was making a mistake. How can I rescue Israel? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh, and I am the least in my entire family. But God's answer, I will be with you. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like if an angel said to me, this is the plan, that would be enough.
Are you certain you would know that it was an angel?
Well, that's the million-dollar question now, isn't it?
May just be some crazy homeless person on the street.
Could be a crazy homeless person. It could be somebody that you deal with on a daily basis. There's many different reasons or shapes that this could have taken place in. But in this particular case, when we're talking about Gideon, it says it was an angel. And so you would have thought that would have been enough. But Gideon, being probably a normal human being, was filled with insecurities, filled with doubt about who he was. He knew what his earthly status was. He knew he came from the smallest tribe. He knew he came from the weakest clan. He knew that he was the quote-unquote weakest among them. And so he thought, there's literally no way that God can use me. And so he asked God for clarification. Gideon asked out of genuine humility, if you are truly going to help me, show me a sign that it is really the Lord speaking to me. And God did, twice.
Yeah, which is part of the controversial thing too, because you can ask for clarity, but whenever you get an answer, it's never a good idea to ask again. Did I hear you right? Is that the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's asking for clarity and being prepared to move in whichever direction God tells you.
And it comes in all types of different forms. He talks about in 2003, when his church was launching into multi-site, they asked for a sign, and God gave them a sign. And so it catapulted them into what they are today. He talks about George Miller. George Miller was a church pastor for 66 years. He established the Ashley Down Orphanage. Did I say Miller? I should have said Mueller. I'm sorry, I misread that. He cared for 10,024 orphans while establishing 117 schools for their education throughout England. It says in today's dollars, George Mueller raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 million. And he never asked a person for any of it. Mm-hmm. He lived by the belief that if God called him to it, God would provide. And that's the way he lived. That is a pretty remarkable story. I don't know if there's anybody else that I've heard of that's lived like that. Now, there are plenty of people that say, if God called you to it, then he'll provide, and he will. But rarely do we ever just go, you know what, $1,000 is going to show up on my front porch today. And I think a lot of that comes from our unbelief about what it is God can do.
And our limitation on how he can do it.
So, one of the things that I've prayed for specifically, and April has prayed for, is provision for Jaden while she's in school. She's going to a private school. She's going with limited scholarships. And, there's just no way that we as a family can afford to send her to this school. And so she has been tasked with, raising the funds and whatever that looks like for her. And she needs to be praying, she needs to be seeking God, and she needs to be working. So part of this is also continuing to work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on God. And so it's up to us to continue to do our part. And so we have encouraged her to make sure that she's doing her part of it so that when the funds become available, she can't take the glory for it. She can point only to God to be able to do that. Now, the flip side of that is we have to trust that God's going to provide those funds. So that means continuing to pray and continuing to believe that if she's in the right place and she's doing what she's called to do and God's will is being fulfilled and God's glory is coming from it, then those funds will be available.
Doesn't mean it's not scary.
Right. So that's where we're at in this particular part of a journey. I don't know that we've sat down and prayed a fleece over this thing, but we believe that this is where God has called her to be. And I think all of us knew it when we first visited there. So we're trusting God that he's going to do what he says he's going to do, and that is he's going to take care of us. He's not going to lead us where he can't take care of us, and he's not going to lead us into a place where he will let us fall. His will is being done, and we have to be diligent to do our part. So, the thought for the day: when God gives a vision, he always makes provision. So, don't seek answers, seek God, and the answers will seek you. So, that's Pray a Fleece. And I don't know about you guys. You ever prayed a fleece?
Yeah. It was pretty scary the night that I did it. And then the next night, whenever there was confirmation and it was on to the next thing, it was very, I don't want to say, it relieved a bunch of burden. So how do I say that? It lightened my load a lot. And even after that lightening of my load, there's been a year of just turmoil after, but it was clear that there was an answer. It's clear that, okay, this is what God has for you for your next situation, and just the world fights against what it is that God has for you to do.
That's true. Where God is working, the enemy will work against.
You don't know how hard it has been for however long this has been going. My whole face is itchy. I just want to scratch it off.
Well, when we get done, you can take some more Benadryl and go to bed. Day 23 tomorrow is not now. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be that when God calls you to something, but it's not right now. So we'll be back for that tomorrow. We should be back home in some form or fashion. Tomorrow will be an interesting day as well. So we're looking forward to getting back home and continuing on this journey. You did your thankfulness, right? Mm-hmm. Today I am thankful for Benadryl. So,
yeah,
the miracles of modern science and the things that they do for us. God does heal, and sometimes He heals through the medicine that we take. So, I'm thankful for those things. So, anyway, we will see you guys tomorrow back here, day 59, and be moving headlong into December over the weekend. So, it's getting close. The end of the year is coming, and we are certainly ready to start 2020. So you guys have a good night, and we'll see you on day 59.